And welcome back, folks, to our afternoon of the Alkame Cup regatta here in Welland at the Welland International Flatwater Centre. Despite forecasts earlier in the week, we have ideal conditions. We have a very gentle southwest breeze as the afternoon of racing begins. We will start with the women's division, and it'll be 500-meter heats to start. Ideal conditions, 27 degrees, blue skies, some white clouds, and it is hot. It feels like 34 degrees, so the athletes do have to deal with heat. Hydration is key, staying ready in between races. Many athletes will race 7 or 8 times, but some athletes may have just arrived today to support their women's or open crews. So those crews will be acclimatizing to the heat, whereas the crews from this morning have already raced in it and understand the conditions that they are dealing with. As I mentioned earlier, the True North Premier Women were the first crew here at this race course in 2024 to break the 2-minute barrier with a 1:59. Very recently, 3 crews did that at the Toronto Island Festival. That, even though it is a slight south wind, meaning a headwind, it will be a significant factor when it comes to overall times. That 1:59 marker is not going to be easy to achieve in a headwind. As much as it looks light to us, it's hard to quantify the impact of wind in water sports. But certainly True North Premier Women will start the day as the favorite. They're going to be in lane 2. NDRC Storm also headed to Taiwan for the Club Crew World Championships. They would be installed as the second place favorites. And then we have battling in theory, battling for third, we have the True North Senior Women, and we have PDBC Ignite. So the total field is 4 boats, PDBC in the red, True North Premier in black, True North Senior in blue, and NDRC Storm in primarily blue jerseys, light blue jerseys with white trim. The crews are backing off the dock. The key to the 500 meter is sustaining power, holding on to power throughout the middle of the race. The way that a women's boat can go sub 2 is with both a perfect combination of power and precision. These athletes are very, very highly technically skilled. They have great mobility. They're able to plant their paddles, get their bodies in a position where their paddle is planted and loaded just under the water line. And they also have the power to move the boat using their paddle as an anchor. They can move the boat past the paddle and tend to be really dynamic in their movements. They move fast, they anchor strong, and they just move extremely dynamically. Great to watch. Really awesome to break down the stroke and improve yourself as a paddler just by watching these races. The men also have great skill, but they tend to move the boats with their strength. Men have quite a bit of power to get on each stroke. They can generally move the boat with a slower stroke rate a little bit farther on a per stroke basis, and that will often be the emphasis of open boats. The women's boats sit higher in the water, less overall crew weight, and that also helps create less drag on the boat, which allows their boat glide to be an important factor over a race like this, which is 500 meters and 2 minutes, give or take. All crews will strive to be in that 2 minutes to 2:10 range. And of course, 1 or 2 crews in the field may be targeting a 159 or better. Overall points, only one crew per club will count in the women's division. So either True North Premier or True North Senior Women will accumulate points for their club. The second of those two crews will not accumulate points. Crews are lining up in their lanes behind the start line. And even though the design of this regatta is for one women or open crew per club, the True North Senior Women decided to come because this regatta works perfectly with their plans to peak perform at Taiwan, the Club Crew World Championships. They will be competing against other fantastic Senior A crews from Canada and the rest of the world. They are defending world champions in multiple distances. And Karen McEwen will be their steersperson. Karen has been on this crew for over 20 years. Quite an astonishing accomplishment for someone to be that dedicated, that consistent, and that skilled for that long, to be a member of this crew for upwards of 20 years. I'm sure some of her time was spent with the Premier Women, but Karen has been a critical, essential, and very positive element of the True North Senior Women, and it's great to see her out there doing something that she loves and obviously making a big contribution to her crew. 4 crews. We are minutes from the start. All crews are lining up in their lanes.
NDRC Orcas. In 4, True North SLP Premier Open. And in 5, PWC Big Dogs. Please make your way to marshalling. That again is in lane 3, NDRC Orcas. In 4, True North SLP Premier Open. And in 5, PWC Big Dogs. Please make your way to marshalling. Thank you.
Crews are on the line. We're looking for NDRC and True North to be the crews to beat in this race. And they're off. There's the start. Great start for NDRC. Right there, neck and neck, head to head with True North Premier Women, and likewise Ignite. And the Senior Women are neck and neck as they compete for third place. The True North Premier Women starting to settle into their working stroke and inching ahead ever so slightly as we hit the 100-meter mark. True North Premier Women, long and powerful, arms fully extended, NDRC looks to be a little bit lighter crew, slightly faster recovery to try to make up for maybe a little less power. And at this point, we're midway through the race, and True North pulling away. Really, really good boat speed through the middle of the course. Same with the same with the senior women. They're making a move. They're only a few seats back of NDRC. The field quite spread out now. Premier women with an 8-seat advantage as we come into the final stretch, 150 meters to go. Precision is a key to their success. Every member with the same exit, every member with the same catch, every member of the team looking exactly the same, all contributing equally. That is the way to make a dragon boat function. Nobody is the star of the show. Everybody's contribution matters. Deep connected strokes, and Premier Women have gotten to one of their goals, which would be open water, a full boat length lead, and they're going to be very close to that 2-minute mark. NDRC a few seconds back. There is the senior women coming in at about a 2:06 unofficially, and then Pickering Ignite women crossing the line a little bit above that 2:10 mark. That is our first race of the afternoon. True North, Premier Women first, NDRC second, True North Senior Women third, and PDBC Ignite fourth. Great start to the afternoon. Next up, we have the Sport Open 500 meter heat. We allowed time for all crews to get back to the dock, just in case there is a steersperson or a drummer or an athlete that wants to paddle on, wants to be on both the open boat and the women's boat. So it'll be interesting to see if any clubs took advantage of that. We have 3 crews in this field: Lane 3, NDRC Orcas; Lane 4, True North SLP Premier Open; and Lane 5, PDBC Big Dogs. We could see our fastest times of the day. Again, that headwind has proven to be a factor. Teams that sometimes go sub 2 have gone high 2:03s so far. So we could estimate the headwind as worth approximately 3 seconds, but you never know. Every race is different. The gusts are different. The impact on the boats are different. And I know these open crews are excited to show off their stuff. They are excited. It's towards the end of their season. They've been training hard. I think they all think that they are going to have season best performances today. So you can bet there's a lot of excitement, testosterone, and energy traveling through these boats. You can bet there's a lot of enthusiasm, there's a lot of confidence, and there's a lot of crews on the water here that think that they are going to show off their best race ever. Our first Sport Open race of the day. Orcas on the inside in 3. SLP in their red jerseys in 4. And PDBC Big Dogs in their red and white jerseys in 5. Orcas 3, SLP 4, Big Dogs 5. We're going to see some top speeds. Crews could be hitting as high as 18 kilometers per hour off of the line. The starters trying to hold the teams perfectly in position, trying to make the start absolutely perfect for all boats. And we're off. Big power, big precision, big stroke rate. Stroke rates all getting up in and around that 100 to 110 range at the peak of the sprint. A big bow wave coming off of these boats. The faster the boat speed, the bigger the bow wave. Especially looking at the bottom of our screen, the orcas have a lot of bow wave to deal with. SLP is trimmed a little bit more towards the back, so they have a lot less bow wave to deal with. That is something that's intriguing off the start here. Big bow wave for the orcas, slower stroke rate for the orcas, trying to generate more power per stroke. The big dogs are behind. The big dogs have a higher rate. They're trying to put their body weight on the stroke and generate the same torque. SLP making a move. These crews are close. Orcas have a very consistent stroke. Nice and clean, nice and long. Stroking just below 70. SLP above the 70 mark, but will SLP have a move in them? We have 100 meters to go. Orcas have the lead, staying really consistent. Orca's famous for their very colorful hats. They're bringing up their rate. They've called something. They're making a move towards the finish. Stroke rate came up quite a bit. It's going to be the orcas taking the heat. SLP's in second, about 1 seat behind, and here comes the big dogs across the line in third place. We'll wait for official times. I have the orcas in the 154 range, but I am very unofficial. Orcas very consistent through the middle, definitely had a big push in the last 80 meters. SLP tried to make a move around the middle of the course between the 2 and the 400 meter mark, and the big dogs hopefully are happy with their performance, pretty consistent throughout, paddling aggressively, looking for their season best performance.
have the results for race number 9, the Sport Open Heat 500 meter. In third place, PDBC Big Dogs at 1 minute 59.48 seconds. In second place, True North SLP Premier Open at 1:52.77. And in first place, NDRC Orcas at 1 minute 51.91 seconds. And we will now call to marshal race number 10, the Sport Women A Final 500 meter. We can please have True North Senior Women, True North Premier Women, NDRC Storm, and PDBC Ignite. Please go to marshalling. That again is marshalling race number 10, the Sport Women A Final 500 meter. True North Senior Woman, True North Premier Woman, NDRC Storm, and PDBC Ignite. Please go to marshalling. Thank you.
So we did see the fastest time of the day there, the Orcas 1:51.9, which is an outrageously fast time. And there is definitely some headwind impact, so that could have even been faster given other conditions. This morning we saw 1:52.2 also from NDRC on the mixed side. And so we're getting into the fastest times ever performed on this course. But we have our fastest time of the day, the Orcas 1:51.9, SLP 1:52.7. So outrageously fast times. Great job by all of the athletes. That's why they want to be here. This is a fast and deep course, and everyone's in the peak of their condition. So we're seeing the best that Canadian Dragon Boat has to offer here. And as we move towards the women's 500 final, we have our lane selections, not lane assignments, lane selections. True North Premier Women have selected lane 3. NDRC Storm has selected lane 2. True North Senior Women have selected lane 4. And PWC Ignite has selected lane 5. So we have our lane selections for race number 10, Premier Women's 500 meter final. This one is 4 points. And all of those points will total up towards one club winning the inaugural Alkame Cup. At this point, True North holds a 3-point lead in the overall standings on the strength of a first and 2 seconds from the Hammerheads and 3/4 from Leviathan Black, whereas NDRC has 2 firsts and a second with Green, and although they have 6th place from their small boats, they accumulate no points for their small boat results because you have to beat one of the other 6 competitors, 2 mixed crews per club. So the 6 points from Leviathan Black have vaulted True North into a 3-point lead in our overall standings as the afternoon progresses. We are zeroing in on the women's 500 final. NDRC Storm on the inside. True North, Premier in 3, and Senior in 4. PWC Ignite in 5. Great overhead shot here of the Welland Canal. The Welland Canal is one of the best race courses on the planet. It's deep, it's wide, it's fair. All lanes are equal, and it produces some of the fastest, fairest times. Teams like to come here and legitimize their efforts throughout the season. A time in Welland is a time that you can mark on your annual calendar and strive to beat the following year, because you know it's fair, you know it's deep, you know it's honest. One of the things in our sport, wash riding, when a crew beside you gives you an advantage or a penalty by sending their wash your way, even that in Welland is minimized with the depth and the width of the race course. The Orcas will be looking to improve on their performance. And True North Premier Women coming off a 2:03.89. They're going to want to get closer to that 2-minute mark. Cup points are on the line. One of these crews will be going home with gold medals for their race category. That is also on the line, so a lot to be accounted for here. Madam Starter has the race. Crews are moving gently, inch by inch, meter by meter, to try to line up perfectly where the starter wants them at the line. Once she gets the 4 dragon heads aligned, we'll see those paddles go into the water. The paddles are up. And there's the go. The crews are off. Can NDRC Storm out to the lead? Can they take the lead at the first 25 meters? It is neck and neck. Storm with a great start. They may even be at the second set of buoys before. And a big call here from True North Premier Women. Big call happening from their steersperson, alerting the drummer that it is active drumming in this race. We'll see if that becomes a factor. Active drumming. These crews are getting ready for the World Championship, so they have to actively drum. Great start. Great first 100 meters from Storm. Storm is out to challenge True North Premier Women. The Premier Women are just taking a dragon head lead now, but they have their work cut out for them on this race. A little bit higher stroke rate from Premier Women of True North. Really sharp strokes. Exiting quickly, I see Sherry Valia in seat 4 in this boat. She's an avid paddler. She has worked extremely hard. I see her in the gym multiple times a day sometimes, getting ready to perform her best at this event. Great performance here from NDRC Storm. They are still in the race in comparison to the heat. This is much, much closer. It is too close to call with 80 meters to go. It is neck and neck. dragon head to dragon head. Which crew has the best 70 meters left in them? It is too close to call. This one could come down to video. It is too close to call. I can't tell. Points are on the line. I can't tell. Is it True North? Is it NDRC? We are sprinting, and it is going to be True North, followed by NDRC. About a half a second difference. Senior women are next, and Ignite to complete the field in fourth. Great race. NDRC Storm with a big improvement over their heat. Final times are going to come in right in and around that 2-minute mark. Excited to see. It looks to me like all crews went a little bit faster in that race than they did this morning. As we look to the 200s, it'll be interesting if Storm could get the 200 off of True North. That could have a major impact on the overall Alkame Cup standings. That could have a major impact on the women's medal standings. And NDRC Storm certainly has a great start in them. They certainly had a great first 100 meters. And True North Premier Women just had enough to get the victory at the end by a dragon head.
Results are in for race number 10, the Sport Women A Final, 500-meter race. In fourth place, PDBC Ignite at 2 minutes 13.50 seconds. In third place, True North Senior Woman at 2 minutes 8.56 seconds. In second place, NDRC Storm at 2 minutes 2.08 seconds. And in first place, in race number 10, True North Premier Women at 2 minutes 1.85 seconds.
Here we go, folks. Race 11, Sport Open A final. This is for points. This is for accumulating points for the Alkame Cup. This is accumulating points for their own medal standings in the Open Division. We're coming off a race where NDRC Orca has posted a 151.9, True North posted a 152.7, and Big Dogs posted a 159.48. Our light headwind is still a light headwind. It may be a little bit more brisk than it was 1 hour ago when they raced. The crews are getting about 1 hour of rest from their, just under that, about 50 minutes of rest from their heat to their final. This morning that was 1 hour when there was only mixed racing. It's just under that this afternoon with open and women's racing. And a big question here, like Storm did to the True North Premier Women, can SLP put a scare or even more, a greater challenge into the Orcas? The Orcas come in as the top seed. They've selected the inside lane. They've selected lane 2. And all crews will be diligent on the start line to make sure it is a fair and even start, because every meter matters in high performance racing. It's not about seconds, it's about tenths of seconds and hundreds of seconds. That's what the races come down to. So the starter will be very diligent about holding them, equalizing the crews before the race begins. Paddles are up. And we're off. Orcas and SLP are the top seeds. Big Dogs are at the top of our screen. High stroke rates everywhere. Big Dogs are over 100 stroke rate, staying in their rate a little longer. They're off the line well. They're right beside SLP. But the Orcas at the bottom of our screen have almost broken away already. They have a 4-seat lead, really high top arms, as we can see in the colorful hats. High top arms, really putting a lot of body weight on the blade. Long strokes, a rate that is manageable, that is not overrating. Middle of the race, they're hovering around a 70 stroke rate, and they have opened up quite a lead. Orcas are probably going for a time to beat their own. They know they're not just racing SLP, they're racing everybody in the world in 2 to 3 weeks in Taiwan, so they want to see what their best performance looks like. They've got good connection with the water, they've got a long stroke, and they have a half boat lead as we enter the final phase of the race. Big Dogs look to have a better performance this time than the heat. Staying strong, staying up front, trying to get down to the water as much as they can. The Orcas have lots of power, lots of top arm pressure, bringing their rate up as they did this morning. This looks to me like it's going to be a faster time than it was in their heat. Really, really well done by a full boat. A full boat over SLP. SLP with some open water over Big Dogs, and there is your results. Wow. Fast times. We could be looking at course records for open. I am unofficially right in the 150 range for NDRC, in the mid 153s for SLP, and in and around 158 for the Big Dogs. But we'll see what the official timer has to say about that. But it looks to me like each of the 3 crews went a little bit faster than they did in their heat. Each of the 3 crews. SLP may have dropped a half second, but Orcas and Big Dogs look to me like they posted faster times than their heat. Your final standings: Orcas, SLP, Big Dogs, 1, 2, 3.
Seconds. In second place, True North SLP Premier Open at 1:55.08. And in first place in race number 11, NDRC Orcas at 1:51.64 seconds.
Trace the light, don't forget the silver linings, always there, even when you're trying and no one cares. Apathy loves company and all your friends. Either shut your eyes or face a stream of endless tears. Hope's a seed and all it needs is help to grow. Embrace community, you're not alone. You know you should keep your head up and you'll see the good. And every day you're struggling, you gotta let that sun shine in. Even on a cloudy day, when the sun's away, you feel the pain and tears like they were falling down. Love picks you up, it's all around. Worry encroaching, nervous tick motion, stuck inside a life you made but never chose. And I suppose the sweetest dreams have an aftertaste. Lingers when you wake and it's all a dance. Joy and pain waltz hand
right, we're moving on to the 200-meter component of the day. This will be a 200-meter start, a 200-meter race. The True North Club, as we know, as a result of the mixed 2K, has moved into the pole position for the Alkame Cup with a 3-point lead. An interesting note, in selecting their lane, they've selected lane 2 for the 200-meter final. They selected lane 3 for the 500-meter final. So it's an interesting divergence of strategy here. Moving to lane 2, NDRC Storm has selected lane 3. True North Senior Women have selected lane 4, and PDBC Ignite has selected lane 5. But Storm has had very effective starts so far today. If I isolate to the first 100 meters, from my viewpoint, Storm may have led both the heat and the final at that juncture of the race. So this being a 200-meter race, I think it's anyone's guess as to who our favorite is. I think it would be even odds from a sports betting perspective here. This could be the closest race of our entire day here. Too close to call. NDRC typically specializes in their starts, in their sprinting, in their short distance work. True North, as seen in their mixed 2K, certainly prides itself on all distances, but especially the longer distances, the 500 and the 2K. So we're going to see. The cup could be up for grabs. A 3-point swing one way or the other could turn the whole outcome of the day, as we have two top clubs that are neck and neck in the overall standings. Also interesting to see if the youth of the Ignite team, I know they have 18Us and 24Us, significant youth component to their roster, to see if that can translate into high boat speeds, see if that can translate into fast stroke rates, a little bit more explosive power off the line. We'll see if their 200-meter distance works to their advantage. I think this could be our most anticipated race of the day. The starter will be very diligent about making it a fair and equal start for all crews. The race is expected to be on the inside between True North and NDRC. Hard to get an exact line. Locke does a great job with the drone footage, but only the starter knows the exact line of the crews. Every meter will matter. Every meter will matter in this race. True North and NDRC are the favorites. You can see the wind is now not a straight headwind. It is a westerly wind. We had an easterly wind this morning. We now have a westerly. And so when that wind shifts throughout the day, the crews may be used to lining up on one side of their lane, and then all of a sudden they get on the water and there's a different wind pattern, and it's pushing them in a direction it wasn't in the morning. So I think that's what you're seeing here. You're seeing all the crews being backed off the line because maybe earlier in the day they were lining up in the center, but now the wind is definitely pushing them right to left. So we've got a reset here. All crews are set. True North still moving, holding their boat now. The starter wanting to get everything ideal. Paddles are up, and they're off. 200 meters. We have a great start for Ignite on the outside. Ignite with a solid third place position. As we said, younger crew, more explosive. We've got neck and neck between True North and NDRC. We're coming up on the 100-meter mark. We're halfway through the race. True North seems like they had their best start here. Ignite being caught by True North senior women and the premier women of True North. This may be their best race of the day. Really quick recoveries. If you look at seats 1 and 2 on the right, really quick recoveries. The paddle barely gets out of the water and it gets back in. Oh my gosh. Dragon head to dragon head. It's going to be True North unofficially. NDRC second, True North third, and Ignite in fourth. Close racing first to second, close racing third to fourth. Great performance, great display of dragon boat athleticism out there. I had unofficially a 46, a low 46 for our leaders, the True North Premier Women. Low 46, mid 46 for the NDRCs, and then high 49s for the True North Senior Women and Ignite. My times are just me and my stopwatch. They have nothing to do with official times. I thought it was interesting there to see the precision of the recovery in the True North women. Very low recoveries, getting the paddle back in the water as quickly as possible. Lots of cheers happening. Athletes look their best on this recovery, especially here in Welland. The lefts right now are going, I know people are watching me. I better look good. I better paddle my best. The rights are like, I know people can't see me, so it doesn't really matter how I paddle right now. That's what's happening inside the mind of an athlete. I've been out there. I paddled 4 races yesterday, and as a left, I tried to look good. Just in case. There might be scouts everywhere. There might be drones everywhere. You can't get away from the footage, so you're trying to look your best. You never know who is evaluating you or cheering you on or celebrating you. Great job, PDBC, Ignite, fantastic job, great 200-meter race. Congratulations, well done, team.
And we now have the official results for race number 12, the Sport Women A Final 200 meter. In 4th place, PDBC Ignite at 51.68 seconds. In 3rd place, True North Senior Women at 50.98 seconds. In 2nd place, NDRC Storm at 47.81 seconds. And in 1st place, True North Premier Women at 47.38 seconds.
And we are moments away from race number 13, the Sport Open 200-meter A finals. Remember, folks, these crews are weeks away from competing at the Club Crew World Championships in Taiwan. They are fine-tuning their strategy. They are fine-tuning their race plan. They are fine-tuning their connection with the water. The coaches may be fine-tuning the seating plan. The steers and the drummer are fine-tuning their calling, their hand signals, their drumming strategies. Everything is about, at this event, making sure every sensation is locked in so that when they go to the World Championships, these teams would be euphoric if they could win races 2 weeks from now in Taiwan. It may not be a better time. It may be the exact same performance they put in here in Welland, but because today it is a GTA-centric race with 3 teams, 2 weeks from now it'll be a world-centric race with teams from multiple continents on the start line. And it goes without saying that Canada may have the best club system in the world for dragon boat. I always think that our national team is one of the best, in part because we go beat each other's brains out in regattas like this all the time, and the bar gets raised annually by a crew going faster than we even thought possible. And with that bar continually being raised, our collective efforts when we get into the same boat together are create incredible accomplishments. So here we are, 200-meter start. Orcas on the inside, SLP in the middle, Big Dogs on the outside, and they're off. Here's our start. Orcas with that power. They carry so much power. They look to that possibly have a little bit more body weight to them, but they certainly have power. I think that is Omar in seat 4. Omar has a lot of body movement, if I am identifying him correctly. A lot of mobility, gets his armpit down to the gunnel. Incredible start by the Orcas. Incredible start. Half a boat. Look at the bow wave on these boats. Look at the stroke rate. SLP, extremely high stroke rate. The Orcas just look powerful. They look under control. And they are going to win this. Big Dogs with maybe their best race of the day in 3rd place. Nice race, Big Dogs. Well done by all crews. But the Orcas are certainly the class of the field in open here. Noticing from the women's race that my times were approximately 1 second faster than the official times. So I had that clocked at 40.7. So we're likely looking at a time in the low 41s for Orcas. Sensational times. And then a time in the low 42s for SLP, and a time in the low 44s for the Big Dogs. Those are my unofficial times, just me and my stopwatch. What impressed me there was the first 10 strokes. The Orcas took significant lead in the first 10 strokes. They had a lot of body weight on their strokes. It's not particularly about stroke rate with them. It's about power per stroke. They're really getting body weight onto the blade, and they're moving the boat at an extraordinary rate right away. In 10 strokes, they're taking a lead. Fun fact, I like the stroke in seat 1 on the Orcas. Great mobility there, taking some nice strokes with the yellow paddle. Here at Alkame, yesterday we had community teams racing, and we provide a paddle bin of used paddles, and all of our paddles are yellow. So I like to think that that guy just grabbed a paddle out of our paddle bin, even though he is a world-class paddler. I think that that's a nice little image, that he may have grabbed a paddle out of the paddle bin on his way to the boat today and performed a record time. Great racing. Every single crew here is high performance. Every single athlete here trains 6, 7, 8 times a week to be at their best. This is a sport, as I said in the morning, requires power, requires mobility, requires agility, requires precision, requires teamwork, requires aerobic capacity, requires anaerobic threshold. Every single ability any athlete would want to have, you must have that. What a great shot we have here of the Big Dogs. Very proud of their jersey, designed in-house by one of their teammates. And they're an up-and-coming team, very on the young side. Lots of 2-4U influence on this crew. Lots of young premiers on this crew. And, of course, Zach Daddy as well. So they're a young team that will be a menace to these other clubs in the future as they grow and evolve into the best form of themselves.
Results for race number 13, the Sport Open A Final, 200 meter. In third place, PDBC Big Dogs at 45.14 seconds. In second place, True North SLP Premier Open at 42.97 seconds. And in first place, in race number 13, NDRC Orcas at 42.10 seconds.
Sometimes the waves, they keep on crashing in. Sometimes the rain, it never seems to end. I'll be alright, my friend, if you stay by my side. Sometimes our worries get the best of us. Sometimes the hardest we try's not enough. All will be well as long as you stay by my side. You help me take this weight off my shoulders. Always run my way when I call you. You're the anchor I'm holding tight on to. You are my home away from home.
And the crews are now getting ready for their final race of the day, the women's 2-kilometer race. It is 2 laps of the race course. It features 3 turns. It is NASCAR on water. Passing is meant to happen on the inside or to the left, and anything can happen. As we saw in the mixed racing, the team that came first in the 200 and the 500 did not come first in the 2K. So a lot of variables in the 2K that cannot be controlled. How fast the crew in front of you is, how they do their turns, the wash that they create, and how that impacts your crew. So a very unpredictable race, the 2K. As we saw, the only race that we did not have a consistent winner in our mixed category. So we'll see if True North Premier Women and NDRC Orcas can get the triple. Team Canada Premier Women have been the predominant team in international racing for many years, but they've never got the quad. The quad is winning the 200, the 500, the 1K, and the 2K. So as strong as crews are, every single race is a huge challenge. It is tough to come first in any sport, never mind doing it 3 times in one day. So you can see the teams taking their practice turns here. Ignite with, I was going to use a pun and say they are quite fired up to do their 2K, show their best selves, and great turns here. You can see the boat hitting the orange buoy. The lefts are trained to look out for that buoy and miss it without missing a beat, without losing a stroke. So great practice turn there by their steersperson, Kat Kramer. And they're out early, they're warmed up, and they will be the first team to start in this race. So good job by them to get out early, get their turn in, add some rest and some recovery and some nervous banter and talk some strategy before they are under starters orders. This start order will be PWC Ignite first, True North Senior Women second, NDRC Storm third, and True North Premier Women fourth. A good opportunity to shine a spotlight on our steers people. They say this is this steers person's race. It is the race they have the greatest impact on. Not only their skill in executing the turn, but also their strategy and where to line their boat up before the race, where to go on the race course, middle of the lane, left of the lane, right of the lane. And of course, how much weight to put behind the oar on the turn. Lindsay Wingham-Smith is one of our sport's best, and here she goes for her practice turn. She's going to try to kiss the buoys. You can see the water splashing off of her oar. This practice turn is essential. The steers people, you'll often see them a meter or two off the buoys in the warm-up, and then in the race, they are absolutely hugging them. So just like anything, they use this. They're so good at adapting and making adjustments, and just by doing that arc, they know for 10 minutes later when the race is on, how hard to pull, when to execute their turn, if they need to go in sharp or come out sharp. And generally their goal is to be perpendicular to the apex buoy at the top of the turn. So some different strategy in terms of athlete placement in the 2K. Crews typically are a little bit more bow light in the 2K just in case they're trying to get over some wash. They're generally a little bit more bow light. They don't want to take on water over the front of their boat. So sometimes you'll have athletes used to sitting in seat 2 or 3, now sitting in 7 or 8 or 9, and vice versa. So not always. Some crews like to keep it consistent. Here in Welland, it's rare for us to see a capsize or a sunken boat, but worldwide it's not rare. Almost one per World Championships or multiple per World Championships. Our final crew to do their warm-up turn, NDRC Storm. I see Joelle in seat 5. Good power on the water, long white sleeves. She is the partner of Ben Choi, who we had a great chat with earlier today. Good torque on the blade there on the steering oar from the NDRC Storm steersperson, and she is getting her bearings as to where she wants to put her emphasis for the race. Where does she want to pull hard? Where does she want to pull light? What kind of angle does she want to exit the turn at? Where does she want to call her restart at the orange buoy, before it or after? So a lot of things, a lot of information gathering here in this warm-up. The crews will now go beyond the start-finish line, and they will gather on the east side of the canal, and that's where they will come under starter's orders. 15-second intervals. There's a good chance we could be witnessing 2 world champions in this race, as the True North senior women will be racing in the senior A category. And so True North trying to pull off the rare double world champions in Premier and Senior A 2 weeks from now in Taiwan. And NDRC Storm says, don't forget about us. We got a thing or two to say about that. And we plan to have our best race of the day here to prevent the triple and to wrestle the Alkame Cup back into the clutches of NDRC. 2 races to go. True North is the leader in the overall standings by a 3-point margin. And NDRC is trying to pull a rabbit out of its hat to get the Alkame Cup back into their possession. "15-second intervals." There was more passing, more action in the mixed race than maybe I would have predicted. You can see the teams are lining up about 20 meters behind the start line. Their clock or their time doesn't start until they hit the timeline, which is the 3 white buoys with the numbers 2, 3, 4 adorned on them. That is when their time will start. And we have Ignite under starter's orders. Paddles are up. There's the horn. We're off in the 2K. Ignite's time will start right about now. And we have our first team off. True North senior women are next. They're finishing up their start sequence. Great start there. One of their paddlers named Megan Ballantyne paddled for Team Canada at the World Cup. And the senior women are off, about 16-second gap between crews there. PWC Ignite will like that extra second of grace so that they are not tracked down. Here comes Storm. Last one out of the docks. We'll see if there's any impact on that. Great start by Yolana in the blue hat. Great pressure all the way to the back. Nice long strokes. And just under a 15-second gap there. And again, I think we're averaging about 16 seconds in terms of these gaps between these crews. So even though it says on paper 15-second intervals, it's imperfect because it's sort of a moving start. It's when they hit the timeline. Crews are nice and evenly spread out in this first straightaway. You'll see those gaps generally close as the race goes on, depending on who has the best performance. Lindsay is steering True North Premier Women, adorned in the black jerseys. Teams in this first straightaway, they're trying to push. A lot of Dragon Boat teams will say we race the first one like a 500 meters. We come out of the blocks hard and hot. Pass before you get past. That's one of the credos that teams ascribe to, and they're really just trying to paddle their best technical race, being very efficient. They know they're paddling for 9, 10, or 11 minutes here, depending on the circumstances. So they need to be into a powerful but efficient stroke They need to be consistent. They need to work together really, really well, and they need to trust their steers person. Kat Kramer getting the spotlight here on the turn. You can see seat 1 raising their blade to miss that buoy. Great job touching buoys, getting as close to those buoys as possible, sharply around the apex of the turn, touching buoys again. And here comes Karen and her True North senior women. She looks to be about a meter off of the buoy. She's getting perpendicular at the apex. That's what you want. You want to be perpendicular at the apex. She's holding her speed. She's got a nice arc to her turn. I think she and her teammates are going to be quite happy with that. Well done, Karen. NDRC. This is their chance to carve into the True North lead. Coming to buoy 4. This is a 5 buoy turn, and they're going to crank hard out of the turn here to straighten up. And finally, True North. Looks like we still have even gaps. Even gaps after one turn. Lindsay would have raced the 2K this morning, so she may have some strategies based on what she experienced at this top turn. The north turn. Officials are positioned strategically throughout the course. They're at the 50-meter mark. I see Helen in her red and black IDBF officials top and her white cap. And Helen will wait for teams. She'll be having a keen eye on the buoy in front of her to identify which crew has right of way for the second turn. That will be a verbal command she'll provide to the crews to let them know. Second straightaway. This is a moment where the athletes want to push. It's common, it's human nature to conserve. And as a coach, you're trying to get athletes to spend, even though we're not yet at the midpoint of the race. It's human nature to fall into rhythm and to get a little tiny bit conservative. So coaches might be asking for a little bit more. They might be asking for a big 5 or a big 10, trying to keep their athletes primed and at their best. The athletes are thinking about their training. They're thinking, I have worked on my endurance training. I have done long OC paddles. I have increased my aerobic capacity. Some athletes are proud of their aerobic capacity. They know that this second half is going to be their best half. They know they get better as the race goes on. So a lot going on in the mind of the athlete, trying to keep themselves confident. Ignite with priority on the turn. Even spacing. It looks like the senior women have made up a second or two, but certainly not 15. NDRC looking strong. They've got a good shot here. But no passing. Everybody has their own priority. So how close to the buoys can you get? True North Premier Women, they know they don't have to pass, but they want to creep up. They want their nose closer to NDRC's tail. NDRC a bit wide from the buoys there, a bit wide coming into this turn. That could be an opening for True North. Lindsay cranking hard, going a little tighter. That could be worth 2 to 3 seconds. Every couple of meters is certainly... Every couple of meters is going to make a difference. So I think on that second turn, True North definitely took an advantage and made up some ground on NDRC. Even splits. It looks like the senior women are moving on Ignite. It looks like NDRC is moving on the senior women, and it looks like Premier Women are moving on to NDRC. So everything according to script at this point. Third straightaway. This is where the coaches are going to ask for a lot, especially in a race like this. You don't know if you're winning or losing. It's very difficult to judge the gaps. I don't see any heads turning and looking behind them. Generally, athletes and steers people are looking ahead. The drummer has a bit of a perspective of what's happening behind. You're looking for the cleanest water, the fastest water you can find, clean, stable water for the athletes to grab. As they say in Drive to Survive, mode push right now, mode push. Get the athletes to give. This is the last race of the day. Some athletes, this is their 4th. Some athletes, this is their 8th. And this is where you're going to ask for everything. Ask for whatever the athletes have left in the tank. There's no holding back at this point. True North senior women making a good move. Great view here. Good patient catch. Really collecting water at the front, looking for that extension. A little harder to extend when you're 7 minutes into the race than it was in the first 30 seconds, but that can be the difference between being an also-ran and being a champion. So looking for extension, do you have the same mobility now that you did in the first minute? True North senior women making up ground, making up ground. I believe that is Lisa Ferguson on the drum of True North Senior Women. She was a drummer for Team Canada Senior A for several cycles, both Thailand cycles. And great race for the senior women. They are chasing Ignite, dragon head to dragon tail with 425 meters to go. The order of racing is the same.
Now marshalling for race number 15, the Sport Open A Final 2K. In boat 1, PBC Big Dogs. In 2, True North SLP Premier Open. And in 3, NDRC Orcas. Please make your way to marshalling. That again is race number 15, the Sport Open A Final 2K. PDBC Big Dogs in 1, True North SLP Premier Open in 2, and NDRC Orcas in 3. Please make your way to marshalling. Thank you.
We're coming down the last stretch. 250 meters to go. PDBC Ignite leading the way. True North senior women right behind them on their wash. They've made up many seconds, but there's a source of pride in teams to not be caught. So I'm sure Ignite is pushing themselves. I'm sure they're proud of their effort and they do not want a team to catch or pass them. NDRC Storm having a great race. They are following in the wash of the senior women, and so too are the premier women. It looks like the crews are performing in the order that they were seated, but I think every team would be proud of their performance at this point. The senior women traditionally have a great ability to hold on to their boat speed. They look strong coming through the last 100 meters. You're going to have a full finish sequence. Even though they've been paddling for 10 minutes, a full finish sequence is being called here for Kat Kramer. This is an important race for her. This is a race she's poured her heart into, a season she's poured her heart into. I'm sure she's very, very proud of her performance and her team, that of her team. High stroke rate, very proud of their race. Ignite will be the first across the line, unofficially in 10 minutes. Senior women, 2 seconds after them. Storm, 7 seconds after them. And Premier Women, 10 seconds after them. So our range of outcomes was from 10:04 to 10:24 minus their start intervals. Great racing. Premier Women, exquisitely done.
Second call to marshal for race number 15, the Sport Open A Final 2K. In boat 1, PDBC Big Dogs. In 2, True North SLP Premier Open. And in 3, NDRC Orcas. Please make your way to marshalling if you haven't done so already. Then again is second call for race number 15, the Sport Open A Final 2K. In boat 1, PDBC Big Dogs. In 2, True North SLP Premier Open. And in 3, NDRC Orcas. Please make your way to marshalling if you haven't done so already. Thank you.
Welcome back. We are minutes from the grand finale. Our 3 open crews are on the water. Big Dogs, SLP, and Orcas. This will be the final race of the day. Fun fact, the crews, we've positioned this event as a collaboration that all of the clubs should feel welcome to provide feedback and enhancements to the event. And 2 nights ago, one of the clubs asked if we could separate the open and the women's 2K because they had a steersperson that would like to steer both boats and will be steering both boats in Taiwan. And traditionally, we would, for time and efficiency's sake, race the open and the women's race all in one. But we also want crews to have a proper preparation for Taiwan. And if they want their steersperson in the boat, and it means that we all stay on the park for another half an hour, then let's do it. Let's optimize racing. This is peak performance racing for all crews. And so all the clubs thought about it and agreed that that sounded like a good plan. And here we are. Our final race of the day features 3 boats and certainly one steersperson who will be steering a back-to-back race after completing the women's race. So good job by these crews efficiently loading their boats and getting ready for the grand finale, the Open 2K.